Well, that's the reason we take the press conferences, because sometimes they can blow up. Billy Harrigan, your response as a former referee to effectively the blame being placed on the two refs, Jerry Sutton and Ben Cummins.
It was disappointing, and it's also disappointing to hear that the questions start to lead that way, looking for something to, whether it was the referees or not, and maybe that's because it was only a 6-4 and there wasn't a lot to talk about except the arm wrestle. But Laurie said he didn't know about the Morris try, and when he does have an opportunity to review it on video, he'll see that it was a dead set no try. So there's no call there. Another question was asked about a knock-on, which was reversed down here. Now, that was the correct decision, because O'Neill went up for it, he missed it, and it came down and hit, I'm pretty sure it was Boyd Cordoner's head, and then went back to another New South Wales player who then knocked it on. So that decision was correct, and when he reviews that, that's the right one as well. What will be interesting is to see how much pull in this day and age that the coach of a team has in the appointment of the referees, because, and I'm saying this, going back in the old days, they had a massive input on it.
Yeah.
And when the referee was appointed, if they didn't want him appointed, they would say, I don't want that bloke. And that happened to me in 99 with Wayne Pearce as coach. After game 1, he said, get him out of here. In game 2, 3, went to Stephen Clark.
Right. Now, put yourself in the shoes of, say, Tony Archer. It's his decision, isn't it, who refs game 2? Or will that decision come from above?
They put an appointment in, so as the head coach of the referees, you put the appointment in to the league, to the NRL, and you say, these are my referees. Now, when I was the head coach, back in the hierarchy then, they said, we will go with whatever you give us, because that's the confidence they had to put in their referees coach to give them the right referee. And that's the way it should be, and I think that's the way it still happens today. So it will be interesting that if Archer is still in charge, if he does appoint those two blokes, if they still perform over the next couple of weeks prior to game 2, and then to see whether or not they take their place on there. It could also be a lot of pressure coming from Laurie Daley as the coach.
Are they the two best guys for the job, in your opinion?
Yeah, at the moment, the way the boys have been performing, yes. I still got a big raps on Matty Chechen. I still think he's the best referee out there.
Yeah, so why is he not in there?
I'm disappointed. I think he's out of favour. And you even see during the week the games that he's been appointed to, I believe he's out of favour. And I still believe that he has a feel for the game. And you'd be best to talk about him, Mick, because his relationship with the players on the field and the way he handles himself, I still think he's the best referee.
Okay, put yourself now in Tony Archer's shoes again. Let's say that you do have the power. The decision's not going to come from above. It's on you.
And let's say I still do believe that those two blokes are number one at the time. I still appoint them. Right. And then I just go, well, there's my appointment. Then if the hierarchy come back to me and say, Bill, we're not having them, those two blokes aren't your two blokes, I'll say, well, then you pick it. Why ask me? If I nominate the referees that should be doing the game and then you knock them back, well, then you pick it, because you're just saying that I can't appoint those blokes that I want to appoint.
Jared Sutton, that's his 5th game, and he's the main ref, so let's concentrate on him. 1 win, 4 losses for New South Wales. So that's when Laurie Daley talks about history, that's what he's referring to. But it's probably a wise, you know what, Gerds? It's a wise move from a coach to blame it on, to make that the story.
Yeah, and considering, remember, it's only a goal kick. They only lost by the goal kick. That was it. So to put that emphasis on those referees. But in my first, as I said earlier in the pre-game, I think my first 6 games, it was something similar, 4-1 or 5-1 to Queensland. But that was because of the team. They had the Wally Lewises and, the team was outstanding. But then it started, the tide turned, and all of a sudden New South Wales were winning and Queensland said, we don't want him.
Yeah, look, I didn't see enough in that contest to blame the referees for New South Wales' loss. I mean, obviously Laurie will have a close look at it and does take a little bit of pressure, I guess, off the side. But I'm sure that's not his sole intention. He's probably actually got some legitimate reasons there. He also mentioned the past, so there's obviously maybe a bad record New South Wales have when those two guys adjudicate.
I think one area where coaches get really frustrated is the speed of the ruck, and I thought he actually had some validity in his comments there. I thought Queensland did a really good job tonight in slowing down the ruck and just tangling themselves up, especially with the amount of ball New South Wales had in attacking position. Every time they were inside that 10-metre zone, someone was in there hanging around, hands on the ball, and I thought they slowed it down. Look, New South Wales would have done it as well, but Queensland just did a really good job. They did it better.
We made a point, or I did, Billy, in the call, that New South Wales looked like they were trying to milk a penalty for the last 20-25 minutes. Do you think the refs made it their intention not to blow? They just didn't want a penalty to decide this game. They swallowed their whistles.
Oh, they absolutely did. Considering the way they blew them in the first 15 minutes, they certainly did swallow the whistles, which in this game is a good thing if you can get the players giving you just about what you want. So they are making the effort to get back. They are making the effort to stand straight at the marker. And as long as the play doesn't break down, you can put your whistle in your pocket. I just had a look at some of the stats then. Out of my first 9 games, from 91 to 99, Queensland have won 7-2. And it was after that when Wayne Pearce said, get rid of this bloke.